Hey guys, I'm Maddie and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be reorganizing my bookshelves. Here's a little sneak peek of the after in all of her glory. Yeah, I got new bookshelves for Christmas and I am finally setting them up. It has been a process, so come along and we'll go through the books at the end too. So I just finished filming what I got for Christmas, and now we're gonna build my shelves. These are what it looks like. They are the Leva IKEA shelves. I think there's 5 different shelves. This is pretty heavy actually, so I'm gonna set this down and we're just gonna get setting up. Oh fuck! I just bashed my freaking fan with the box. This is going so well. This is going so good. So good. Last time I built this shelf, I got a huge ass blister on my finger, so we're gonna try to avoid that this time. This little piece of trash is what gave me my blister. So I got my real tools. I need an actual screwdriver too. I was gonna do a cutesy little montage of me building my bookshelf, but I don't think that's gonna happen because I am struggling already. And I'm sweating and I'm hot and I just wanted to get it done. I'm so hot right now. But you also need a screwdriver, like your own screwdriver. They don't give you one, so got one. I'll see you when my shelf is built. My bookshelf is built. Words are hard today. Enjoy that. Enjoy that.
Yo, he's like so sad that he is not a good parent. She says a good parent has happy kids. Our kids are so happy. It is so cute. In a hug machine. Oh, I love. My heart is beating out.
Okay, this is what we're starting with. I have my 2 bookshelves over here. This is just the random collection of books I received from Christmas. And then down there are my nonfiction. Oh, and that's an alarm. We're just gonna turn that off. Yeah, down there are my nonfiction. There is random school stuff, my reading journal, some textbooks, and just random like little notebooks and stuff. And then, oh boy, over here is a disaster. This is all of my books. Well, and that. These are mostly series, like young adult series, or like teen maybe, I would say. Yeah, probably mostly teen. And then over there are all of my like other books. So first step I think is going to be taking off all of these books, moving them mostly where they're going over here, and then taking that bookshelf and moving it there. I think that's my first step. Okay, so I think I finally got all of my books set up. On this shelf is my like young adult fantasy dystopian type of thing. So I have Twilight, New Moon, and Breaking Dawn. Those are the only 3 books I have of the Twilight series. I would like to collect them all at some point, but it's not a huge priority of mine. Then I have Divergent, Insurgent, and Allegiant. I know 4 also has a book. Don't have that one. Also not in a big rush to get it. And then I have the Maze Runner series. So the Maze Runner, the Scorch Trials, the Death Cure, and the Kill Order. Then my 2 different copies of The Hunger Games, both in paperback and hardcover. Moving down here, this shelf I think is going to be, oh, you can't even see me. These 2 shelves are going to be like my school education shelves. So any like journals, notebooks, my textbooks, once I collect them all. This is just going to be like a dumping ground of all things school because it's easy access to my desk. And then the very bottom shelf, It's gonna be hard to show you. But back there, I just have Happy Days by Gabrielle Bernstein. Then like a notebook, a couple notebooks, like The Confused Mind, and I think it's like Loved Yourself or something. And then You Are a Badass, Badass Habits by Jen Sincero. The Third Door by Alex Banyan. In the Realm of Hungry Ghosts by Gabor Mate. My Bible, Turning Off the Tap, this is for binge eating. Girl, Wash Your Face, Don't Wait Till I Die to Love Me, that's poems. I impulse bought that. I've never read it. And then Rich is a State of Mind. And then continuing on to the next bottom shelf, these are all of my old journals, and then I just have some notebooks and a coloring book. Oh, and I guess on the very top of this shelf, I just have my little Swiss cheese plant, my Monstera. She is so cute. And like it faces a window. Ooh, so this is be perfect lighting for her. Then moving on to the next shelf, here's a little overview. So up here I just have two candles, Cinnamon Spiced Vanilla and Mary Cookie. So here, let me just move you a little bit. This is my romance shelf. So I have my Boys of Tommen series by Chloe Walsh. I'm so excited to read it. I haven't read any of the books yet. So we have Binding 13, Keeping 13, Saving 6, Redeeming 6, and Taming 7. This follows like college students, and each number represents an athlete, a guy, and then you follow like his love interest, then you follow a couple. Apparently it's like very heartfelt and very deep, like you get really attached to the characters. Then we have Magnolia Parks by Jessa Hastings. I'm so excited to read this one as well. I've heard it's very like frustrating. You find like, or you follow these two characters, BJ and Magnolia, I think is her name. Well, obviously Magnolia Parks, I'm pretty sure. But it's like right person, wrong time. They're just very toxic for each other. Just everything you want in a nice little romance. I don't think it's like very fluffy. I think it addresses some hard topics, just like the Boys of Tommen. Next, moving on, we have, oh, I need to rearrange this a little bit actually. Then we have my two Elsie Silver books. So the first one is Flawless, and this is the first book of the Chestnut Spring series. Again, interconnected standalones. But like the Boys of Tommen and the Magnolia Parks universe, those are a set series. Like you have to read them in order. You can't just pick and choose. But whereas like Flawless and I think the Wild or the Rose Hill series, by Elsie Silver, I think those are interconnected standalones, so you can read them however you want. So yeah, anyways, we got Flawless, which is like a cowboy professional bull rider, and I think his nanny. And then Wild Love, honestly don't know what it follows. I think it's a single dad trope as well. Next book we have is Meet Me at the Lake by Carly Fortune. She is a Canadian author, and these books take place in Ontario, which if you didn't know, that's where I live, so that's pretty cool. I haven't read it yet. And then I have my two Ali Hazelwood romances, The Love Hypothesis and Love Theoretically. Love Theoretically is my favorite, but it was also the first Ali Hazelwood book I read, so I think that's why it has a special place in my heart. They follow women in STEM. They're cutesy little fun reads. I had a great time reading them. There's some of them like, they're super easy, very quick, and just bingeable, very bingeable books. Next I have Done and Dusted and Swift and Saddled by Lila Sage. This is part of the Rebel Blue Ranch series. There's also two more have come out, I think. I forget what they're called though. Then we have Candy Steiner's The Wrong Game. I haven't read that in forever. It was like one of the very first books I read that like got me back into reading. Probably like 5 years ago, honestly, I think. And it's like this chick invites this guy to a football game and they go back and forth. It was like one of my first smut books. I remember that actually. That was like the first time I read a book with smut in it. I would love to reread it just to see what it's like. Candy Steiner also writes A Love Letter to Whiskey, which I would love to get my hands on. I've heard you either love or hate that book. Next we have Full Measures by Rebecca Yarros, and this is part of another series. I think they're interconnected standalones as well, but it makes more sense if you read them in order. Then we have The Hating Game by Sally Thorne. I think this is like a workplace romance. Honestly, I got it at my free little library, so I haven't read that yet either. Moving down to one of my top 3 favorite shelves. This is my dark romance book. Starting off, we have the Mindfuck series by S.T. Abbey. And this is one of my prized possessions because it is the OG cover. This is out of print now. I don't like the new cover, so I'm very, very happy I got my hands on the old cover. This is like 5 books in one paperback, and it follows a serial killer and an FBI agent. And I don't know if they're like dating or they somehow meet and like fall in love, but he is investigating her. She is the serial killer and he is the FBI agent. How fun! How fun is that? I've heard great things. Like, so many people have rated it 5 stars, and I feel like everyone and their mom talks about it. Very excited. Then we have Still Beating by Jennifer Hartman. This is a dark romance. Obviously, it's on my dark romance shelf. But it follows this girl and her sister's fiance. And our main character and the fiance, they hate each other. They do not get along whatsoever. And then they get kidnapped together and like form some sort of like little trauma bond or relationship. Very intriguing. Next, we get on to my H.D. Carlton book. So I have Satan's Affair, then the Cat and Mouse Duet, Haunting Adeline and Hunting Adeline, and then Where's Molly? I have them set in the order that it's recommended to read them in. So Satan's Affair, Haunting Adeline, Hunting Adeline, and then Where's Molly? Satan's Affair and Where's Molly are like little novellas, so you don't have to read them at all, but you have to read Haunting Adeline and then Hunting Adeline. Those 2 have to be read in order, but the other 2 little novellas you can read at any point. Then we have Does It Hurt? Don't know much about this. I know it's about like a shark researcher and a girl, and it's like a thriller also, like more thriller than you might expect from a dark romance. Moving on, we have what trilogy? The Ruinous Love trilogy, the first 2 books, Butcher and Blackbird and Leather and Lark by Bryn Weaver, another Canadian author. And the 3rd book, Sparrow and Scythe, comes out this year, in March maybe? Sometime soon. But it follows brothers and they're like all murderers and fall in love with each other. Not the brothers. The brothers don't fall in love with each other. But we follow a family of 3 brothers and then their love interests. Next we have my Colleen Hoover little collection. So we have Too Late. Haven't read that yet. Don't know what it's about at all. Then we have Ugly Love. I haven't read this book in a very long time. Don't really remember what it's about. I remember there's like a car crash. And then they drown. Anyways. Then we have It Ends With Us, the infamous, very talked about book right now. I loved it. I had a great time reading it. Then we have Sick Fucks by Tilly Cole. Don't know what it's about. I bought it because it's like supposedly out of print, but I found it on the Walmart website and I thought I would like to get my hands on it. It did come a little damaged. You can see that there. She's just a little bit smushed. But I've heard people say it's like one of the darkest books they've read. So we'll see if I get to it or not. I'm in no rush. And then I have this is one of my prized books. It's Those Boys Are Trouble by Willow Winters. But my copy is special because the author actually sent it to me herself because it's a misprint. So like, here's the front, but it's actually printed upside down and backwards, like if you can see. So this holds a special place in my heart because she sent it to me herself. Like, I reached out to her and told her I would take it because she's like posted a TikTok being like, oh, I can't sell this book, like it's a fuck up, I can't do anything with it. I'm like, well, I'll take it. I will take it. And she sent it to me. How freaking cool. So yeah, I just love it. This is like a mafia, the Valetti crime family collection. There's like 4 books in here, I think. Yeah, I don't know how many books are in here. Wait, it's Dirty Dom. Oh, so we have Dirty Dom, His Hostage, Rough Touch, Cuffed Kiss, and Bad Boy. Was that 4? 4 or 5 books in here. Okay, let's go down. Let's go down to my my dedicated shelf. I hope you can see. You can see fine. So this is my shelf for Miss Sarah J. Maas. We have A Court of Thorns and Roses, the paperback series. It's very heartbreaking, but my copy of A Court of Mist and Fury is kind of fucked up. The pages are starting to fall out of it, so it's like become thicker, and now all of the books don't fit in my little cardboard box that it came in. So that's why A Court of Frost and Starlight is just off on its own, because it doesn't fit in my box, and it really bothers me, but oh well, oh well. Then we have my copy of the hardcover of Crescent City, A House of Earth and Blood. I got this at Valley Village. Yeah, that's that. And then we have the Throne of Glass series in paperback. I have not started this yet. I'm very intimidated to start it, but very excited to. I think I am going to start with Assassin's Blade, because I've heard that some of the other books spoil what happened in Assassin's Blade, so it kind of feels like pointless to go back in time and to reread it. So I think I'm going to start with Assassin's Blade and then work my way through, but that's what's holding me back from starting, because I don't know where to start. I don't know if I should start with Assassin's Blade or start with Throne of Glass, but I think I'm going to start with Assassin's Blade. We'll see. I have not decided yet, obviously. Now onto the last shelf. This is this particular shelf. It's a bit of random collection. I have Dolly Alderton's Ghosts. Haven't read it. Daisy Jones and the Six, one of my favorite books of all time by Taylor Jenkins Reid. It is told as an interview, and we follow this band through their highs and lows. Carrie Soto is backed by Taylor Jenkins Reid as well. Love that book. Follows a tennis player making her comeback. It was really great. Very much enjoyed that. Paradise Problem by Christina Lauren. Don't know anything about it. I think it's like a mystery. This couple goes on holiday, maybe. I'm just 100% guessing off of the title. Mad Honey by Jodi Picoult. Don't know anything about it. I've heard a couple people had to stop reading it because of some of like the trigger warnings and stuff. The Ministry of Time. I found this at my free little library, and it's a book of the month copy, so that's kind of cool. Don't know anything about it. The Secret History by Donna Tartt. I have started this book like 3 times, and I haven't been able to get very far into it. Like, I'm on page 47. It's just a very dry, dark academia. I had such a hard time. I want to read this, and I would like to finish it, but I don't know. I just can't get myself to get through it. And I have so many other books that I want to read that it's just not a priority. The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. I enjoyed this book. It follows this girl who struggles with like mental health and wants to kill herself, and then she goes into like this middle ground where she is presented with different doors, I think, or different books, and then she could read how her life could have went out if she made a different decision. I really enjoyed it. The Deep by Alma Katsu. This is like a retelling, or not really a retelling, but kind of based on the Titanic, and follows like ghost stories. It's fiction, but based on like historical events. Then we have The Four Winds by Kristen Hanna. Haven't read this book yet. Don't know what it's about. Everyone talks about Kristen Hanna and like raves about her, so I'm excited to read it at some point. I just don't know when I'm gonna get to it. Not sure what this one's about. It's like a pretty popular one, but I feel like the woman is the most popular, and I think this is like historical fiction as well. Then we have Circe by Madeline Miller. It follows like Greek gods and goddesses, I think. Honestly, not really sure. And then this is my library book that I took out, Scarred. I did a reading vlog about this. If you haven't watched it, go watch it. Loved this book. It is a fractured fairy tale about the Lion King. It's dark romance. It is smutty. It is spicy. It is captivating. It was so easy to read and I just had a grand old time. This is one of my prized possession shelves. This is more romantasy. So here we have all of my Empyrean series books. I need to give you a close-up. So we have my regular copy of Fourth Wing, my winter edition of Fourth Wing, paperback with the stenciled dragons Fourth Wing, my stained edge copy of Iron Flame, and then my regular copy of Iron Flame. And then moving over, we have the first book of the Six of Crows duology. I don't know what the duology is actually called, but this is Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. I don't know what it's about. Quite honestly, no idea what it's about. Then we have The Serpent and the Wings of Night by Carissa Broadbent. I would like to reorganize this actually. Okay. The Serpent and the Wings of Night by Carissa Broadbent. This is part of a series. There's a ton more books out already. I think one just got released a couple weeks ago. Don't really know what it's about either. It's romantasy. But then the book I just moved is the novella Six Scorched Roses, also by Carissa Broadbent. It follows different characters that get introduced later in the series. I think this is like the Wings of Naxia or something. I think that's what the series is called. I love this. I read this book first and had no problem getting into it. But yeah, you're introduced to these characters later on in the series. Super short, super simple, straightforward read about a vampire and I think like a mortal girl. The girl needs the vampire's blood to like stop a curse. So she needs to go seek him out and it is spicy. Spicy. Then we have Lauren Roberts' Powerless and Powerful. Powerful is a novella. Reckless just came out and I think there's a third book coming out as well. Then we have Phantasma by Kaylee Smith. I'm excited to read it. I think it's like a game type book, like the Seven Rings of Hell or something, and like you have to, I think it's kind of like Carvel, maybe. There's like these people get put into this game and then the winner gets something afterwards, and I think our main character goes into the game trying to find somebody, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know. And then we have Bride by Ali Hazelwood. This is her like debut into the romantasy and it's like the Omegaverse. So we have vampires and werewolves. Loved it, loved it. I had a great time. Okay. Moving on down. This shelf is more like dystopian, younger books. So starting off we have The Cruel Prince, The Wicked King, and The Queen of Nothing. This is the Folk of the Air trilogy. I got it for Christmas. Haven't read it yet. We follow Jude, who's like a mortal girl going into like some other universe, and yeah, we follow her. I think there's like a little bit of spice, but I think it's like closed door spice mostly. Then we have The Jewel, The White Rose, and The Black Key by Amy Ewing. I read these so long ago. Don't really know what happens, but it's about like a royal family and this girl, and yeah, I loved it. I want to reread this again. Then we have The Match trilogy by Ali Condi. This is like very much dystopian, like OG, early 2000s. Like this is your jam. It follows like this community where they're have like a prescribed match and like this is who you're with, and it's just great. I loved it. And then the girl like tries to break out of that and like change history. Then we have Shatter Me and Unravel Me. I haven't read this series yet. I've been slowly collecting them. Like I've come across these two books at Value Village, so I picked them up. Then we have The Inheritance Game trilogy by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. Again, don't really know much about it at all. I got this off of Book Outlet. I'm really excited to start it, and I did start The Inheritance Game. I just haven't gotten very far. I think I'm like 15 pages in, and then just like put it down. Just wasn't the right time for me. This is my favorite book of all time, and that is Entwined by Heather Dixon. This book I read when I was very young. not very young, but like in my teens, and it is like a retelling of the 12 Dancing Princesses. It is so whimsical. Even to this day, I love this book, and it still captivates me the same way. I reread it a while ago. It's just so good. Like this again, this and like the Jewel and like Match, these are just so nostalgic for me, and I have a great time with them. Next is The Waking Land by Callie Bates. I'm pretty sure I've read this, but I don't remember anything about it. Again, I think it's like one of the OG nostalgic dystopian books. Then we have Delirium by Lauren Oliver, and that is a book where love is seen as a disease and they're trying to cure people of love. Obviously that doesn't go over very well. And then we just have my hard copy of The Wicked King because I bought it at Value Village before I got the box set. So I'm gonna get rid of that at some point. We're almost done. Not really, actually. There's more than I thought. Moving down here, these are like my thriller books. So we have The Wrong Family and The Wives, both by Taryn Fisher. Don't know what The Wrong Family is about. Haven't read it, but The Wives is like this dude has 5 wives and the main character wife is like trying to come to terms and just accept the fact she's not the only one in her husband's life, but there's a twist. The Girl on the Train, a popular book, don't know what it's about. Lisa Jewell, The Family Remains, don't know what that one's about either. I think this is part of a series, and I think this is actually the second book of the series, if I'm not wrong. And then She Was Gone by Lisa Jewell. I think it follows a girl's disappearance. It's been a while since I've read that one. But she like this young girl disappears under suspicious circumstances, so then you're trying to figure out who done it. Who done it? Lucy Foley, The Paris Apartment. Don't know much about that one either. Ashley Audrain, The Push. It follows like a wife or like a mother coming to terms and like dealing with like postpartum depression and thinking that her daughter doesn't love her and like accepting that fact. Kind of fuzzy. The Sanatorium by Sarah Pierce. I don't remember what this one is about either. I'm assuming like an insane asylum, a sanatorium. Then we have The Maid and the Mystery Guest by Nita Prose. This follows a maid at a very regal hotel, and the maid, one of like the high-end clients, customers, patrons, dies, and they're trying to figure out who did it. The Big Pie Society, One for Sorrow by Zoe Sugg and Amy McCulloch. I love this book. It's a dark academia again, and there's like this girl, a student who dies suspiciously and they're trying to figure out what happened. There is actually a second book out and I have not bought it yet, but I would like to get it at some point. The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides. I feel like this book had a chokehold on social media during COVID especially, but it follows this patient who is at an insane asylum for murdering her family, or murdering her husband, I think. And she won't talk at all, so then a therapist comes in to try to coax it out of her. This got me. The twist got me in this. This was one of my first thrillers with a big plot twist, and I loved it. It was so good. Has a special place in my heart as well. Last shelf, all the way down at the bottom. And it's gonna sit like this. Okay, down here is more like YA teen fiction. There's a couple of randos in here. This is just kind of like a catch-all shelf, honestly. Girl Online by Zoe Sugg. This follows a girl who's chronically online, who has a blog. She's a blogger. I think it taps into Zoe Sugg's life a little bit, if you know who she is. She was Zoella on YouTube, one of the OG vloggers, YouTubers. I still watch her to this day. Love her so much. Haven't read those books in a very long time. But we have Girl Online on tour, and Girl Online going solo. I think there's like a love interest in there as well. We have The Spectacular Now, which follows this teenager who is struggling with all the teen things like alcoholism, finding himself, failing at high school. Then he gets a love interest. He's kind of like set up with her, like he thinks he's doing her a favor by like bringing her out of her shell. It was a good book. It was an okay book. Had an alright time with that one. Then we have John Green's Paper Towns and The Fault in Our Stars. The Fault in Our Stars, classic movie. Again, one of those nostalgic early like 2000s type thing, following two people with cancer. Paper Towns, don't know what that one's about. I haven't read it. Fracture, I think this is about a girl who like dies and then we follow her time through a death. The Giver, I got that for free at my library actually on one of those cards, like the discard books. That's like a classic to read in high school, or like, is it middle school, like grade 7 maybe? Again, another dystopian type book. And then I have 2 Christmas books, One Day in December and The Holiday Swap. One Day in December follows like this couple who has like a little meet cute, but then timing's not right. And then the guy who our main character meets ends up dating her best friend and like getting married. And it follows like the last 10 years of their life together. I don't know. The Holiday Swap is about 2 twins. One gets seriously hurt and then they have to do a swap of lives. Did not like that book. DNF'd it. Did not have a good time. Next, we have the Canterwood Caress series by Jessica Burkhart. This also holds a very special place in my heart because that was the series that had a chokehold on me as a child, and I binged all of those books and I want to reread them at some point. Same thing with Totally Horse Mad, that series. This one is set at like a boarding school and you follow these girls who ride horses and their drama and the lip smackers. This is what got me onto lip smackers as a kid. Weird that I remember it, but that was a big thing that all of the characters had, was like different flavored lip smacker lip chap. The Horse Mad, I think, is like set in Australia. It follows this girl trying to navigate her way in the horse world, paying for it, just how expensive things can be. And yeah, I love it. Love it. Those are my books. That is it for this video. Thank you guys so much for joining me, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!